for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's
Yeah,
good introduction. Yeah.
and in New Wine Tastings, we're always seeking to build relational bridges through Jesus and contemporary culture. We need to hear about the global context. We need to hear of how brothers and sisters from other parts of the world can speak into this issue. It's not just an American phenomenon, it's a global phenomenon. And while you're located in the States, you often travel. Much of your family is there in Uganda and in Africa. Uh, Define for us before we get going Ubuntu, since I said it's about the global vaccine for pandemics. Ubuntu. What is Ubuntu?
Paul, thank you so much for the opportunity again to have this discussion. I've always enjoyed our discussions and conversations because they really leave into the new wine emphasis on building bridges and seeking ways to work that out a little more, to enact that. And I think the beauty about it is it looks like new wine, which, you know, I'm very familiar because I've known you for quite some time, and the work you do, and very supportive, I think it's looking at this idea of what comes out of new wine skins and new wine. It's the passage out of Luke, and so Ubuntu is really about the new wine skin. This idea of the human nature imbued, or the human nature that has the image of God, the imago Dei, and then out of that should really emerge these transferable attributes that we see in the God we want to follow: love, kindness, patience, long suffering. In long suffering, in many ways, has this input of jettisoning our right to be right. Mm-hmm. And the idea, Ubuntu, really out of South Africa in Sinzulu, the language Sinzulu translates to "we are, you are because I am, we are because you are." And it's not necessarily communitarian first. It really is about acknowledging God's stuff in the person, the eternity that God has put in the other person's heart. And how do we draw that out? How do we draw that out of one another? How do we, like many have said, call on the best angels amongst us? And I think for me, from my Christian perspective, I look to God to enact that, and then through me, and I look to God to do that with neighbor as well, so that together we can bring this. We can share agape love amongst one another. It's good for me, good for my neighbor, good for my friends. There's a lot of that to go around. So Ubuntu really is this. You know, in Uganda, there are many other languages, and so the idea will translate through the Bantu group, which extends across South Africa, East Africa, and they'll say, when things are going wrong, they'll say, where is your humanity? Where is the Ubuntu? Where is the God stuff that God gave you? How comes it's not coming to bear? South Africa during apartheid, in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission deliberations, they were calling on this Ubuntu where's forgiveness? Where is the love Black Eyed Peas have sung? So,
yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you. And again, seeing God in the other, God in our relationship, the vertical